We are officially back in our haul spot. I haven't sat and done a sit down video in so long, and I feel like this, closeness to the camera with this in the background is just our spot to do hauls in. So I'm back and better than ever, baby. Also, we are working with 2 large drinks because behind the scenes of sit down long videos is the fact that by 35 minutes in, I'm always super hoarse. So we have 2 drinks today. Hey guys, welcome back to another one. Like I said, we are officially back in our sit down haul spot. So you know what's coming at you. We have yet another haul. And honestly, I feel pretty proud of myself that it's been like 5 months since I've done one of these, because I've said in a past couple of videos, I'm trying to prioritize books on my shelf and physical books that I actually feel deserves a physical spot on my shelf. If I don't necessarily think it will deserve a spot on my shelf, I've been getting it on my Kindle, not only because it's space saving, but also because the Kindle daily deals, the Kindle sales, the Kindle specials are so much more cost efficient than going and buying a physical copy for everything. So I've really found that I have made myself think about whether or not this particular book needs a physical spot on my shelf, and whether or not I need to spend $20 to $35 purchasing the physical book if I could read it on my Kindle. Because honestly, I find that even when I own the physical book, I prefer to pick it up on my Kindle when I am reading on the run. So the fact that I have not done a haul in 5 months, when I think I used to do one a month, I'm gonna give myself some pats on the back. But we do have a good number of books to talk about today. However, the first item I'm going to talk about is not even a book. It's just something I desperately want to show you because I'm very excited. And I think anyone who's watched this channel knows that this would excite me. Also, I've talked about in a few videos that when I record, I turn off all the fans and then it gets really hot down here and I'm fanning myself while I'm filming and a half an hour in because I'm sweating. And while I was setting up for this video, I turned my fan on and just realized I forgot to turn it off. So sorry that you hear whirring in these clips. I'm going to go turn my fan off right now and get nice and warm. That is much better. Hopefully the sound has gone away, but it was feeling pretty nice and cool while I was filming. I should have known that something was up. So, like I said, if you have been watching this channel for a while, you may have seen some of my Sims Picks My Reads videos. I'm going to link them in the description below. But besides for reading, one of my other loves is the game The Sims. I have been playing it since I was 12 years old in the original Sims 1. We are up to Sims 4 now. It is my decompression activity. It is my brainless enrichment time activity. I love that game. It's non-competitive. There's no way to win or lose. It's just fun time to numb out. I love to put an audiobook on, play The Sims. So I went to Target today because I was out of coffee, and I went there to grab coffee, and imagine my surprise when I was walking down the aisle, honestly on the way to the books to see what was out, and I walked down the game aisle and found The Sims board game. What is this? It says it released today, I think. Today, on the day of filming, this released, and there was 1 copy left at my Target. Apparently these are really hard to find, but I saw one and I am so excited. It's literally a Sims board game. Look at that, guys. I am so excited to play this. I actually have a trip with the boys down to visit my aunt and uncle in the next 10 days. And I already told her I'm bringing this and we are absolutely having a game night. I am so excited to play this. The Sims board game. I'm more excited to play it for the first time because I want to see while I'm playing, my wheels are going to be turning to see if I could somehow incorporate this into a challenge reading video. So stay tuned. But now on to the books. I just need you guys to share my excitement that I found the Sims board game. I am so excited to play it. I literally just got it a few hours ago. So who knows? Maybe it's a flop. I have no clue. But I'm excited about the concept, and I physically can't stop staring at it. It's right there. I'm going to stare at it this whole time. But now on to the books. So we are going to structure this haul in the exact same way we've structured all of my hauls in the past. We're going to talk about the physical books I've purchased first, the special editions that have come in the mail or that I have purchased next, and then all of the books that I've grabbed for my Kindle. And that is the majority of the haul because most books are Kindle books for me. It's not a good sign that I've filmed one item and I'm already needing to take a sip of my drink. The first book I grabbed is The Fallen in the Kiss of Dusk by Carissa Broadbent. I keep calling this The Fallen in the Kiss of Dust. It's dusk with a K, not dust. This is book 4 in the Crowns of Nyaxia series if you're not counting the novella Six Scorched Roses. So the way that I'm reading it is The Serpent in the Wings of Night, Six Scorched Roses, Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, and then The Fallen in the Kiss of Dusk. So I'm not going to read the back of this. I don't want to know too much about it because this is book 4, but Serpent in the Wings of Night book 1 is a very good slow burn, deadly trials, human vampire book. It wasn't my favorite. It was just a tad slow for me, but I like it enough to continue in the series and now I own them all. Next up, I grabbed 2 of Jessa Hastings' newest releases. I grabbed The Conditions of Will and Time of Your Life. Let's talk about The Conditions of Will first because this released first. I'm obsessed with Jessa Hastings' writing in general, and one thing I've learned about Jessa is that she often redesigns her covers, so I am lucky and blessed enough that I was able to grab all of the Magnolia Parks books in the original covers, which I'm very, very happy about because I don't like the new covers. I like the older covers. So when this book was announced and when Time of Your Life was announced, I wanted to make sure that I grabbed the physical copies very quickly because if I know Jessa, I know that eventually these covers may be redesigned and I love this cover. I just think her covers are just works of art. I think they're so beautiful. Her best friend, I think her name is Emmy. I think it's Emmy Lou Studios. I'll tag it on the screen, but her best friend Emmy does all of her artwork for her covers, and I think she is just so talented. So this says, London-based Georgia Carter, professional lie detector and body language savant, has long been estranged from her infuriating, close-minded, wealthy South Carolina family. After a falling out years ago, the chasm runs deep between the black sheep, Georgia, and her gay, alcoholic brother and their parents and elder siblings. But when their father dies suddenly, Georgia returns to the States for the funeral, where she comes face-to-face with Sam Penny, her brother's AA sponsor. Amid the tensions, dramas, and revelations of the family reunion, Georgia and Sam are instantly drawn to each other. However, Georgia's brother also harbors feelings for Sam, and the last thing Georgia wants to do is hurt the only family she's ever really had. When their father's will reveals a surprising bequest to a mysterious stranger, Georgia's ability to read people becomes crucial in unraveling her father's hidden past. There are only so many cracks a damaged family can take before it shatters. And then up on the top it says, I can't remember the last time I couldn't get a handle on myself and my emotions, but the lid is slipping. Something about the slipping lid feels like it's Sam Penny's fault, like he broke the seal and he's slowly opening me up. I love Jessa's writing, and I know this book in particular has been getting really high ratings lately, so I definitely wanted to grab it. Then, like I said, I also grabbed her newest release, which is Time of Your Life. This one is quite short for Jessa. It's like a little book. And then on the back, it has, I don't know why, but because I'm such a huge Harry Potter fan, the first thing I thought of when I saw this was a mix between like Grimmauld Place and the Palace in New York City, like Gossip Girl. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but that's what it reminded me of. This one says, she wasn't supposed to meet someone like him. He wasn't supposed to be her undoing. It's 1995. Ooh, I love a book in the 90s, you know? Joa Harrigan is the brash, enigmatic frontman of the biggest band in the world, and Isolde is the iconic face of a generation. She's who people write their songs about, the kind of girl who could ruin a man. Okay, so like a muse and a music artist. He doesn't fall and she doesn't chase, but from the moment they meet, it's headfirst, reckless, and inevitable. Too much, too fast, too consuming. Loving Isolde makes Joa feel alive, but it also makes him feel trapped. Her star burns just as bright as his, and he doesn't know how to be with someone he can't control. The more he wants her, the more he resents her for it. But fame is corrosive, and so is love. Neither Isolde nor Joa were built to survive both, because some loves don't end, they can't, so they just destroy you. That is giving BJ and Magnolia vibes, just saying. I think in this haul, you will find a trend that if a book does a special edition first run print with sprayed edges, it is gonna get me. I'm going to buy it. And this next book is a classic example of that because this and several other of the books in this haul are KU, and I just needed the physical copy. because they're special editions. So with that being said, I grabbed the Never List by Jade Presley. This is the beautiful first run edition with the sprayed edges. I just think this cover is so gorgeous, but this book is KU. So it's not necessarily something I needed to own, but I just think it's a really beautiful edition, to be honest. On the back, it says, "You're invited to the choosing where you could win the heart of not just one prince, but four." So is this like a bachelor prince book? The four princes of Lumathist need a mate and everyone wants a chance except for her. Oh, so she's different. Got it. Threatened by invaders, the kingdom of Lumathist is on the verge of chaos and no one can stop it. Unless the four immortal god princes find their fated mate and safeguard the throne, Lumathist will fall. 5 women have tried, 5 have failed, and tonight in the royal city, the princes need to find their chosen and hope she can survive the transformation that will make her immortal. Only Riley Gray wasn't supposed to be here. She snuck in for her own dark reasons, and now they claim they've found their perfect match. Her. Uh-oh. Riley. Bad situation, girl. Of course, they have no idea she's concealing a secret big enough to damn them all. The four princes have no choice. They'll use every delectably wicked skill they have to make Riley fall for all of them or watch their kingdom collapse. Is this going to be like a little reverse harem deal? This next book, I know literally nothing about. This was a classic, beautiful edition sold me purchase. That is Forged in Blood by Sadie Kincaid. Oh, ignore the sticker. Shame on me. Ignore the sticker. This is from Target. I don't know anything about this book. I looked it up since that it is Kindle Unlimited, but this has a gorgeous first run sprayed edition. I don't know what it was, but something about this cover with the sprayed edges, I had to have it. I don't know what it is. It called to me. I have no idea. It says, every few millennia, a child is born. Some say they're marked with a curse. Others claim they possess the power of the ages. Right at the top of the dust jacket, it says, the why choose vampire romance taking over book talk that's just too good to put down. That's really all I need to know. I'm not going to read anything else, but Forged in Blood, why choose vampire romance in the cart. Check out. Thank you very much. Next up, this should come as a shock to no one. I picked up Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. This has the gorgeous sprayed edges, the gold sprayed edges. I don't know if you could see that, the metallic sprayed edges. And I just think it's a gorgeous edition, but also everything about this book screams me. I also did get an edition of this book. I believe it was a Fairy Loot Romantasy that you'll see later, but this is the regular first print edition. The back of the book says, a mysterious academy, uncertain alliances, and a unique spin on tarot makes the perfect backdrop for a sexy romance. A woman who wields magical tarot cards lands herself in a false engagement with the headmaster of a mysterious academy in this first installment of an enthralling fantasy romance series from the best-selling author of A Deal with the Elf King. I also grabbed Problematic Summer Romance by Allie Hazelwood. This was her like summer release. I've actually heard kind of conflicting things about this book, but I think most people are really loving it, and I just absolutely love her covers, and her paperbacks are nice and floppy, so I always like to grab them because I can actually see myself reading this on the beach or by the pool. This one says, Maya Kilgore is 23 and still in the process of figuring out her life. Connor Harkness is 38 and Maya cannot stop thinking about him. It's such a cliche, it almost makes her heart implode. Older man and younger woman, successful biotech guy and struggling grad student, brother's best friend, and the girl he never even knew existed. As Connor loves to remind her, the power dynamic is too imbalanced. Any relationship between them would be problematic in too many ways to count, and Maya should just get over him. After all, he has made it clear that he wants her gone from his life, but not everything is as it seems, and cliches sometimes become plot twists. It sounds so good. In this video, we're going to talk about so many amazing subscribers that are sweet enough to gift me books from my wish list, but there is one in particular who spoils me like no one I've ever known in my entire life. Cheyenne, you are the sweetest. You have gifted me so many books that I'm going to talk about in this haul. I feel like this should just be called Cheyenne is Awesome Haul. I don't even know. But one of the books that Cheyenne gifted me was The Poisoner by I.V. Ophelia. This cover is like haunting and like, I don't know, I'm so intrigued by it, but like, I think supposed to be like purposely disturbing. I don't know, but I'm so intrigued. And if you flip through it, all throughout the book, there are like these really cool artworks, like these pieces of art. I saw this one in particular that was really, really beautiful. Look at this. It's like a Victorian lady, like a bunch of Victorian ladies. And that makes me think that maybe this takes place in the Victorian era. I don't know why, but if the artwork matches the story, maybe it does. It says, have you ever wondered how long it would take for a lethal dose of arsenic to kill you? 35 hours, 29 minutes, and 15 seconds. I should know. I counted myself. Amidst the gaslit alleys and cobblestone streets of Victorian London, I was on to something. I knew it. The beautiful dresses and the parasols and the hats, I just knew it was Victorian London. So I was on to them. Two killers find themselves entangled in a waltz they can't escape. Alina Leese, a botanist and hobbyist poisoner, has a pastime of killing unsavory men in her own untwisted sense of poetic justice. When she targets the conceited playboy Silas Forbes, only to find him in her apothecary the following week, she discovers human men are the least of her problems. The pair's unlikely association sparks gossip among affluent society. As their mysterious bond deepens, a chilling truth emerges. Concealed identities, lurking foes, and questions as plentiful as the Hydra's head brew within this haunting Gothic tale of violent passion. Will Silas and Alina find themselves in each other's arms, or will the shadows of their past keep them apart? Like I said, this was one of many gifts from Cheyenne. Thank you so much. I'm going to say thank you a ton in this video because there are a bunch of subscribers that have gifted me a bunch of books. So like, sorry if it's repetitive, but I just love you all. What can I say? If you have no idea what I'm talking about, if you look in the description box below, there's always a link to my Amazon wish list. This is not in any way me saying like, please, 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 pretty please go buy me a book. I have over 800 books on my shelves. I have no problem purchasing my own books. This is meant to be fun because whenever you ship me a book, it comes with a little gift message, and I will always ask for you to send me your Amazon wish list back, and I will send you a book off of your wish list with a cute little note from me. So I just do it so that we could interact and be little book pen pals. I just think it's a fun way to get a note from you, to get a note from me, and to see books that we would recommend to each other. So like I said, the link is always in the description box below, but if you do send me a book, make sure that you send a gift message included when you order off of Amazon, but also feel free to send me a message on Instagram and just let me know to look out for it so that you can send me the link to your list as well. Another gift from an amazing subscriber, I received The Scorpion King from Ramos. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, if it's Ramos, from Ramos or Ramos. Gorgeous name. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but thank you so much. This edition has me all over it. The gorgeous pink sprayed edges. It's just a beautiful, beautiful first print edition. I'm so excited to read it. The little note that came with it says, enjoy your gift. I love watching your YouTube videos. You motivated me to create a bookstagram. That's amazing. I'm going to put their username right here. Feel free to go and like. So that is their YouTube page. Thank you so much. This says, deep within the Imperial Palace in Timbuktu. Timbuktu? I don't think I've ever read a book in Timbuktu. Aminata? Aminata has suffered a devastating loss. The daughter of a prosperous salt merchant, Ami finds her life is cruelly overturned in a matter of months. At 16, she is disinherited, framed for a scandalous crime, and forced to serve Princess Mariama of Mali. Mariama's father, Emperor Suleiman, has created a series of impossible trials for his daughter's suitors. When they fail, he publicly boils them alive. Ow. Littering Mariama's path to marriage with 99 corpses. He's boiled 99 people alive? Nice guy. Sounds like a real joy to have at a party, huh? Okay. At first, Ami's life at court is drudgery, the chores are difficult, the servants despise her, and Princess Mariama is prone to mood swings. But the more she learns about the princess's circumstances, the closer the two girls become. Ami and her intended cater plan to escape Timbuktu and make a new life far away from the shadow of death that has befallen them in the emperor's court. And Ami finds herself increasingly drawn to the princess in ways she doesn't understand. When a mysterious discovery forces her hand, she must choose between fleeing with the boy she loves and helping the princess to end the trials forever. Ami will need to draw on all of her strength and courage to make the perilous journey through the desert to seek the aid of an exiled god in a final desperate attempt to take charge of her own destiny. That sounds so good. It almost sounds like fantasy with a subplot of romance with like epic journey vibes. Yet another gift from Cheyenne. She sent me On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin. I think this cover is just gorgeous, and this is the gorgeous indie floppy edition. This book was recently picked up traditionally, and I actually just saw the hardcover sprayed edge first print, and I am like fighting with my brain not to purchase it because I do love this indie floppy paperback. So I'm not gonna grab it. Cheyenne already sent it to me. I have heard great things about this book. It just says, at Bloodwing Academy, blood is power and love is a dangerous game. I didn't sign up for this. A half fae in a school of high blood vampires. That's a recipe for torment. I'm Medra Pendragon, last of the dragon riders, or so they tell me. Funny thing is, there are no dragons left, not a single one, but somehow that hasn't stopped the vampires from deciding I'm worth capturing. Now I'm stuck at Bloodwing Academy where the high bloods run everything, and Blightborn like me, we're just blood in their veins, pawns in their games. It sounds excellent. And another book that came, I believe, in the same package from Cheyenne is Bloodguard by C.C. Robson. I think this edition is so beautiful. I love the white and the red. So often in romantasy, covers are dark. They'll do like the black toned covers. I don't know why the white cover with the red is just speaking to me. I think this is beautiful. Look at the art on the inside. It's like Spartan vibes, right? Then on the back of the book, it says, enter the arena, seize 2 weapons, now try to survive. 100 years, tens of thousands of gladiators, and today only one will rise. So this is a gladiator fantasy. I can honestly say I've never read a gladiator fantasy before, so bring it on. Next up, I bought Bound to the Shadow Prince by Ruby Dixon. If you know my love for Ruby Dixon, Ice Planet Barbarians, and all the like, you know why I had to grab this. This, once again, is the super floppy indie paperback, and I am so intrigued to move on with some of her other works because I eat up her writing. In order to protect her kingdom from the wrath of a vengeful goddess, Princess Kandra must remain locked inside a tower for 7 years. Kandra isn't the altruistic sort, but since the fate of her entire nation is at stake, she doesn't have a choice. 7 years is a long time without a friend or lover by her side. Shut inside the tower with her is Nemeth, an enemy warrior complete with wings and claws and fangs. So clearly, we're gonna like him, right? He is terrifying, cruel, and disturbingly magnetic. Kandra should kill him for his supplies, but she's desperate for his company and his touch. Oh yeah, this is definitely gonna be a Ruby Dixon. Next up, I grabbed A Curse Carved in Bone. This is the beautiful sprayed edge first edition as well. This is book 2 in the Saga of the Unfaded books. I think it's just a duology, so I'm pretty sure it's done after this. I might be wrong about that, but I thought I read somewhere that Saga of the Unfaded was going to be a simple duology. So this might be done, but I have the first book, A Fate Inked in Blood, in the special edition with the blue metallic edges, so I wanted to make sure I grabbed the one that matched it. It is book 2, so I'm not going to read the back, but I know A Fate Inked in Blood is like a Norse Viking romantasy. I'm so excited to talk about this next book because it's a category of book that I sort of dipped my toes into and then kind of didn't read any more of, and I want to get more into this genre. The Fabulous Elizabeth sent me volume 1 of Lore Olympics. I have heard such great things about this graphic novel. Look at how beautiful the pictures and the artwork are in this book. It is my aesthetic with the hot pink and the blues. I am so excited to get more into graphic novels. When I did the video where I got my Kindle Colorsoft, I spent a week reading graphic novels to kind of see if I could appreciate the color on the Kindle, and I loved them. I had a great time. So in response to that, Elizabeth sent me this one, and I cannot wait to read it. Her little note inside the book says, "Hi Lindsay, Lore Olympics is such a fun graphic novel series and the art is stunning." I agree. Love your videos. Keep being you. From Elizabeth. Thank you so much. I can't wait to read it. Just from briefly looking at the art style, I'm getting like Hercules, Mount Olympus, mythical gods vibes, and I'm so excited. Next up, I got books 4, 5, and 6 in the Zodiac Academy newly published versions. I am trying to get the entire series in the newly published versions. They release one a month, and I'm sure to pick them up. So book 4 is Shadow Princess. Book 5 is Cursed Fates. And book 6 is Faded Thrones. Every single one of these books just gets successively thicker. How many pages is this? Faded Thrones is over 900 pages. 900 pages. Cursed Fate is almost 950 pages. That's nuts. And Shadow Princess is 850 pages. So when you get into the Zodiac Academy series, you better buckle up for some long books. Continuing the theme of making sure that all of my series match, I did grab the Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Lori Gilmore. This is in the same series as the Pumpkin Spice Latte Cafe, the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, the Christmas Tree Shop, something like that. I don't remember what else. Gingerbread Bakery. I think comes next, but this was the newest one that they have published at the time. These are cute, cozy mystery romances. I really actually did like the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I thought it was very entertaining and cute. Plus, this is like light Gilmore Girls fan fiction. Lori Gilmore is actually a pen name, and it's supposed to make you think of like Lorelai Gilmore, and the towns give very Stars Hollow vibes, so I'm into it. Besides for the fact that these covers are adorable. So one thing about Cheyenne and I is we like some seriously unhinged books, right? And when I am hearing about an unhinged book, Cheyenne is the girl that I know will just kind of get it. Like, she'll be into it too without judging me. And she sends me some of the most unhinged recommendations ever. And one of them is The Pisces by Melissa Broder. First of all, this cover, this cover is... it's a lot. This girl really loves this fish, and I'm gonna go ahead and assume that's probably what this book is about. This girl really intensely loving this fish. On the back, Vogue.com blurbs it, and it says, "The dirtiest, most bizarre, most original work of fiction I've read in recent memory." It says, Lucy has been writing her dissertation on Sappho for 9 years when she and her boyfriend break up in a dramatic flame out. After she bottoms out in Phoenix, her sister in Los Angeles insists Lucy dog sit for the summer in her gorgeous Venice Beach home. And when Lucy becomes entranced by an eerily attractive swimmer while sitting alone on the beach one night, her life, including her understanding of what love should look like, takes a very unexpected turn. A masterful blend of vivid realism and giddy fantasy pairing hilarious frankness with pulse-racing eroticism. The Pisces is a story about falling in obsessive love with a merman. Okay, well, at least he's not a fish, right? Like, at least he's a merman. By the way, the fact that I had to say the phrase, "at least he's not a fish," you know it's a Cheyenne and Lindsay book, you know? Next up is a gift from Celine. Celine sent me The Kiss of Death by Shannon Ricci, and I am so excited for this book because Celine and I were actually messaging back and forth on Instagram. She told me that she had read this book and she absolutely loved it, and the next thing I know, she sent it to me. So the fact that Celine loves this book and then was kind enough to send it to me means that I'm absolutely going to love it, and I can't wait to read it. Her adorable little note says, "The blurb doesn't make it sound great, but it's so good and complete." I love that. It gives dark academia and adult Hogwarts vibes without magic. Adult Hogwarts. Have a flip through. It's so pretty. I wonder if there's... oh, there is art in it. Oh my gosh, look at the beginnings of the chapters. There's really pretty chapter art. Oh, it is really beautiful. So I'm going to read the back, but Celine said it's way better than the back, so don't judge too hard. "It was hate at first sight from the day I met her. Now she is enrolled at Pantheon, the world's most elite university, and my playground. With one keystroke, I can discover everyone's secrets except for hers. I won't stop until I dissect her soul." Interesting. "A tormented psycho, a genius hacker, a freak. That's what they call me. A good church girl, a sweet violinist, a pretty doll. That's what she has all of them believing. The violin student of my deceased mother thinks she can save my soul, but I'll take everything from her. She made me feel powerless. Her melody cursed me. I won't stop until it's checkmate. Welcome to Pantheon, Dahlia Mercer. You seek to honor the promise you made to your mother, but it's just another golden cage where you'll be all mine." Is this dark romance? A dark romance with a pink cover. Screaming. Next up, a shock to no one, I grabbed Releasing 10 by Chloe Walsh. This is Boys of Tommen, book 6, obviously book 1 being Binding 13. It's a toxic rugby romance. Another really beautiful floppy paperback. And now for a few more Cheyenne gifts. The amazing Cheyenne sent me Enigma by Runix. This is the beautiful first run print with the blue sprayed edges and the character artwork on the inside. I absolutely loved Gothicana by Runix, and this is in the same, it's an interconnected standalone, I think. I don't think it takes place at the same academy. Maybe it does, but it is a tale of dark romance, and Runix's writing does something to me. Like, I just fly through these books. Salem Salazar is a Mortimer University legacy and the black sheep of her scandal-ridden wealthy family. Obsessed with death, she arrives at Mortimer on the hunt for answers about what happened to her perfect missing older sister. Then she discovers that her sister is far from the only girl to have gone missing at Mortimer. Salem will do anything to discover what dark forces are killing Mortimer's students, even if it means using herself as bait. And Casimir Vanderwall has caught her scent. He has a dark past, a hidden agenda, and a ravenous appetite for a beautiful, golden-eyed girl who seems determined to risk her life. but he is far from the most dangerous thing at Mortimer. In this magnificent, steamy, dark academia romance filled with taut suspense, sparks will fly, rivals will become lovers, terrible truths will be revealed, and an epic love will change everything. I have to tell you, one of my favorite things about Gothicana was the romance, so Runix can write a gothic dark romance. And look at the artwork in this edition. Do you see that? What does that even say? I look at the sky and my mind keeps poisoning itself uselessly. Sylvia Plath, the unabridged journals of Sylvia Plath. So there's gorgeous artwork and quotations from other authors throughout the book. Look at this one. Whose is that? Love is my religion. I could die for that. I could die for you. My love is selfish. I cannot breathe without you. John Keats' letter to Fanny Braun. How gorgeous is this? Last one, I promise, but this is I have been bent and broken, but I hope into a better shape. Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. In that same package from Cheyenne, she sent me Satanic Shadows. It's book 1 of the Broken Realms series by Lee Rivers. Lee Rivers, is she the one who wrote the one with the spider, Little Stranger? In the shadows, he waits. Seraphine Winters had a normal life, one she misses when she's kidnapped and taken to an island in the middle of nowhere. Forced to attend Querierton Academy, a castle full of immortal beings. The only way she can leave is if she passes all of her classes. But as a human, she's hated just for breathing, with no way to fit in around magic and powers she never knew existed. And who doesn't hate mortals more than Dane Dalton? The Shadow Prince loathes everything about her, yet there are more secrets and lies than truths between the pair, and it's a race against time when the curse is revealed. I think I'm in like my dark academia vibe. And you know what that is? It's because fall is coming, and fall is dark academia time for me. Also, because Cheyenne knows that I've been on my Zodiac Academy journey, she sent me Forget Me Not Bombshell by the Twisted Sisters, Carolyn Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. This is one that I had not ever heard of them. They write the Zodiac Academy, if you don't know, and the entire interconnected world that goes along with it. This is a book by them that I didn't even know they wrote. It says Mafia Wars, a dark mafia romance. So Cheyenne's note said, I know you've been enjoying the Twisted Sisters Zodiac Academy, saw this and thought of you, from Cheyenne. Look at the art in that book. It is so cool. And it's rare that you have authors that you love and someone finds a book by them that you didn't even know existed. How beautiful. I was sold to my enemies, the butchers of the London mob who run an empire built on sin and greed. Danny, Church, Frank. The 3 men who own me now. I won't become their plaything. I won't become their prize. The war between our families might have ended with this union, but I'm starting a battle of my own, and I'll trade my body for a chance to leave this wedded bliss behind. So a mafia marriage of political expediency, marriage of convenience trope by the Twisted Sisters. Sounds awesome. And last in that package, Cheyenne sent me A Night in the Moth by Rachel Gillig, and she sent me a cute little note that said she knows that I've been reading The Shepherd King duology by Rachel Gillig and really enjoying it. This is Rachel Gillig's newest release. And it says it's a gothic, mist-cloaked tale of a young prophetess who is forced on an impossible quest with the one knight whose future she cannot see. I have heard great things about this, but I don't want to know too much. So that was everything that came out of those 2 boxes. So imagine my surprise when the next day Cheyenne messages me again and says that there's more boxes coming. You're a crazy person. I cannot even believe it. But in the best way, obviously. So the first book in box 2 was Kings of Quarantine. This is another Twisted Sisters book. This actually, I believe, is interconnected with the Zodiac Academy. If you haven't seen the Zodiac Academy, it has so many different worlds and series that are connected. There's so many different reading orders for it. But this is book 1 in the Brutal Boys of Everlake Prep, which I believe is somewhere in the reading order of Zodiac Academy. It's pretty far down the list, I believe. But this edition is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you this, but on all of the pages, there's this gorgeous like arrow artwork. I've never seen page art on the sides of the pages before. I was really intrigued. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not going to read the back of this because I don't know if there's any Zodiac Academy, Ruthless Boys, like Dark Fae spoilers since you are further down the list of the reading order. So I'm not going to read about it, but I am so excited to one day own all the editions for the Zodiac Academy series. And then, when I tell you that when I saw the next thing Cheyenne sent me in that box, I screamed. I'm still not quite over it. I never knew this existed. I don't know how Cheyenne found this, but she did. And the fact that she found this and thought of me and then sent it to me is so incredibly sweet and heartwarming. I'm so blessed to own this item. I'm going to try not to drop it because it's heavy. This is the Harry Potter set, the full complete 7-book set. And what these are the house editions, the Hogwarts House Ravenclaw editions of all 7 books. I'm going to take a few out to show you how gorgeous these editions are, but oh my God, Ravenclaw complete Harry Potter set. Cheyenne, I treasure this. So here is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Here in the US, we call it Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stones, but these are the British editions, which are so amazing. It has the gorgeous Ravenclaw crest on it. How beautiful is that? And on the inside of each book, it has the Ravenclaw crest as well. This is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Here is Chamber of Secrets, book 2. Prisoner of Azkaban, book 3, and my favorite book of all time. Goblet of Fire, book 4. Order of the Phoenix, book 5. Half-Blood Prince, book 6. And Deathly Hallows, book 7. I will treasure these for the rest of time. I'm literally clearing off an entire section on my Harry Potter bookshelf to put these. I'm so thankful. Cheyenne, you have blown my mind. I am rarely speechless, but you've done it. So one day I was at Target and for some reason there was a ton of books on sale, and I don't know why. I've never seen this before, but like I have a Target Red card, so I always get a discount at Target, but they've been doing like individual book sales, which is funny. Like you walk down the book aisle and there's just tags saying that the books are further reduced from the Target Red card price. And I always make sure now that I go and check because oftentimes they're like newer releases. So if you can get a new release on sale and own the physical copy, why wouldn't you? And every single one of these next books that I talk about, I got at Target on sale. And the amount that I ended up paying for the hardcover of the book is less than I would have picked up the Kindle edition for. That's crazy. So the first book I grabbed is A Fate Forged in Fire by Hazel McBride. I've heard really good things about this book and I absolutely love the metallic cover on it. I'm pretty sure this is a dragon book. Born to Rule, Blessed by Fire, Broken by Desire. A smoldering, magical, beautifully empowering romantasy that will keep you reading late into the night. Once a territory built on matriarchal rules and values, Tir Tain has grown frail from a long line of fruitless kings and male heirs, the most recent of which have governed under the influence of the True Religion, an oppressive group who have steadily poisoned the region with their anti-magic teachings. Born to Rule and Blessed by Fire, Amira has been begrudgingly living in hiding rather than risk her life to court, waiting in anticipation for the current king's death so she can bond to his dragon, claim her throne, and protect her people. But when the king dies and Amira is ready to take what is rightfully hers, her ambitious plan is foiled and she is thrust into a game of vicious politics and plots. Her biggest adversary is Prince Forian, a dragon rider and one of the most powerful fire wielders in the territory. Cold, arrogant, and blindly supportive of his corrupt family, he is everything Amira despises. But as chaos engulfs the court, they find themselves reluctantly entwined, forced to forge an uneasy alliance, one that quickly ignites into something more dangerous than either of them expected. Behind enemy lines and slowly falling for her so-called adversary, Amira uncovers just how far the rot of corruption has spread and what she may have to sacrifice to claim her throne. I've heard good things about this. Also on sale in the Target aisle is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. This is a Hermione fan fiction book. It's obviously not Hermione, it's its own story, but this is supposed to be Draco Malfoy and Hermione coded. I've heard conflicting things about this. I've seen some people giving this 5 stars, and I've seen other people saying that it's too slow to the point where it's boring. So I'm interested to see what my thoughts are going to be on it. It says loyalties are tested in this slow burn enemies to lovers romantasy following an assassin and a healer forced to work together to cure a fatal disease while resisting the urge to kill each other or worse, fall in love. I have heard that the enemies to lovers is enemies to lovering in this. Next up, I grabbed Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have read 2 or 3 books by TJR, and I've really loved her prose, and I've heard that this is fantastic. This is kind of in the same world as Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Carrie Soto is back, Daisy Jones and the Six. She writes very strong female characters who are typically either like athletes or in STEM, and I think in this book, her female character is an astronaut. An epic new novel set against the backdrop of the 1980s space shuttle program about the extraordinary lengths we go to live and love beyond our limits. That is really pretty. This book was supposed to be $30, and I think I grabbed it from Target for like 11 bucks. So here I am browsing the Target book aisle and finding books like that, which are new releases that I've wanted to read, feeling lucky. And imagine my surprise when I look down the aisle and I spot The Wrath of the Dragons by Olivia Rose Darling, a signed edition, just sitting on the shelves on sale. This was the only one left. I have no idea how many they had, but I found a signed Wrath of the Dragons on sale. I think I paid like $14 for this. Here is her signature right there. So it is signed by Olivia Rose Darling. And I will say, this book has one of the prettiest maps I've seen. I love a map in a book, but there's something about a color map in a book, you know? So this is the sequel to Fear the Flames, which I have not read yet, but I feel very lucky because I own a copy of Fear the Flames in the traditional published version and the indie published version. And I know that one of the criticisms of the first book's traditional published edition is that they cut a lot of stuff out from the indie, and the indie is actually better. So I think I may try to read the indie and the trad published before I go into this one to see what I think about which version, so I could tell you guys which is better. Also on sale at Target, I grabbed the Target special edition of Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I absolutely adore Emily Henry's writing. One of my favorite books of all time is Beach Read. I think it's like the pinnacle of her work. But funny thing about this book, which I've seen mixed reviews about, by the way, Great Big Beautiful Life has now lovingly been nicknamed the Great BBL. In the book world. So when I look at this, I automatically say it's the Great BBL. So I did grab The Great BBL by Emily Henry. On the cover, it does have a foiled quotation that says, "Welcome to this great, big, beautiful life." And then on the inside, it does have the gingham end pages. This has the longest synopsis of all time on the dust jacket, and what that means is it's going to take too long to read, and in my experience, that typically means it's going to give way too much information about the book, which is a huge pet peeve of mine. So I did pull up the AI synopsis on Amazon, and it says it's about 2 competing writers vying to write the biography of a mysterious heiress while fighting their growing attraction to each other. Like I said, I've heard kind of conflicting things about this. I don't think this has been widely reviewed as one of her best books, but I'll make the decision for myself, you know? It is the fall of Dramione, apparently, because another Dramione book that was on sale is Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. Once again, this is her Hermione and Draco loosely based. It says, "The war is over, the dark forces have won, and the hero who was supposed to save them is dead." Wait a minute. So is that like the battle for Hogwarts is over, the Death Eaters and Voldemort have won, and Harry is dead? Is that what we're supposed to take out of this? The prophecy lied. They were supposed to win the war. Instead, Brienne Rosewood watches, shattered and grief-stricken, as her brother is killed, her kingdom falls, and her home is overrun by their enemies. Now Evermore is no more, and Brienne is sold at an auction, prized only for her remarkable magic. But defeat isn't nearly as agonizing as being sold to Tovin, scion of the powerful and devious Hearst family, because Brienne knows Tovin all too well from his merciless taunting all through school. Now he's grown into a man Brienne cannot ignore, silver-haired and impossibly unfairly beautiful. And while Tovin is most definitely her enemy, he's something else too, something unexpected. But in a world where magic can instantly crush a human heart and even thoughts can be stolen, there can be no such thing as love. Not for Brienne. A secret rebellion is brewing and she needs to find a way to escape her cage and join it. Yet despite the horrors of her new world and the role she must learn to play within it, not all is lost. Help and hope may yet arise in the most unlikely of places. So this is the first run with the pretty sprayed edges. Does it have character art? It doesn't, but it has the rose end papers. And it does have chapter art, which is really pretty. And last but not least is a book that I might be the most excited about for reasons unknown. Something about this book excites me. And that is Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen. This author is the same one who wrote Our Infinite Fates, I believe it's called. She has been a primarily YA writer and is now kind of crossing into the adult fantasy realm. And there is something about this book that excites me. First of all, when I was browsing for information about this book, I found a review that said that this is like an adult Harry Potter world mixed with the mafia. Basically, that person said that the world, and specifically the magic system in this world, is super captivating. And when you said Harry Potter Mafia, I'm in. It says it's an addictive new fantasy series set in a world where magic is fueled by pleasure and pain. An obsessive detective infiltrates a brutal gang of dark mages, knowing that one wrong move will get her killed. Look at this color map. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And when I was browsing it in Barnes & Noble, I happened to just turn to page 1 and read the first sentence of the prologue. And it says, the Killeran's front door changed color depending on who knocked. Sky blue for a charming acquaintance, heart red for a lover present, past, or future, clover green for a spiteful enemy, or a rich, jammy plum for an old friend, mustard yellow for family, and due to a slight inaccuracy with the spell work, traveling salesman. The day the blood moons paid a visit, the door turned as black as the bottom of a well. It sounds so good. So this is definitely one that I'm going to do everything in my power to read relatively quickly. And that is it. Those are our physical books. So now let's go ahead and move on to our special editions. If you do receive these boxes, or if for whatever reason you buy them secondhand and you don't want to get spoiled for the book box books that have come in the last couple of months, go ahead and skip to this timestamp right here so that you don't get spoiled. If you don't care about seeing them, you're good to go. So like I said, when I was showing you my physical books, I did receive the Fairy Loot Romantasy box of Arcana Academy. I think this edition with the tarot card sprayed edges is so beautiful. They're on all 3 of the edges. It has the gorgeous character artwork. And that excites me because that looks like it's their version of the school. That is so pretty. And then of course, the foiled naked hardcover. And an alternate dust jacket. I already told you a little bit about this book, so I'm not going to talk about it again, but I really do love this edition. Also, that came from Fairy Loot Romantasy, I did receive Broken Souls and Bones by L.J. Andrews. This is the author that does the Ever King series, and I've been very intrigued by her writing. The back says, you never truly know a heart until you see the darkness inside. I might like to see yours. So a really pretty quote on the back. It does have the gorgeous sprayed edges with the wolf. Funny enough though, I don't think this has anything to do with wolves. I'm not really sure. We'll find out, I guess, in a second, but it does have the wolf on the sprayed edges. The beautiful character artwork and the foiled naked hardcover. This says, together they'll restore a broken kingdom or burn it to the ground. In a kingdom long divided, Lyra Bien intends to live a quiet life to avoid the attention of magic-obsessed King Damir. Until Rourke Ashwood, the monarch's silent but irresistibly handsome soldier, invades her village and uncovers Lyra's secret, that she is a melder. Gifted in the 3 magical crafts, bone, blood, and soul, a melder is highly sought after. But there is a price. Their magic is also the seed of their destruction. Forced to reveal her ability, Lyra is immediately claimed by Rourke for the king to be his next melder. Now the captive of this brooding soldier, she must find a way to escape, but could Rourke himself be the key to her freedom? What neither of them realizes is that a dangerous truth lies beneath everything. Together they will have to choose to stand against all they know or face a darker destiny. Still not clear what that has to do with the wolf on the edges, but guess we'll have to read to find out. When I talked about Rose and Chains, that last Hermione fanfiction from Target, I completely forgot that I also received it from Fairy Loot Romantasy. I completely forgot. So I do have a Fairy Loot version of that book as well, but this cover is so stunning. I've talked about this before when I talk about the book boxes. I don't love paying extra money for a special edition, and then when you get the book, it's basically just the trad published, but like a different color. To me, that's so stupid. If you asked me if I'd pay double the price for a different colored cover, I would say no. know, I love when they do something like this. Fairy Loot did such a good job on this book when they take it and actually completely redesign the cover. Give me new artwork, give me a new perspective, give me new colors. And that is exactly what they did here. And I think this is absolutely beautiful. Plus it has the gorgeous, what are these, roses? Yeah, the gorgeous roses on the sprayed edges. I kind of do wish they had gone on all sides, but I don't mind the black. And a cute little fox on the back as well. I will say the character artwork on this one is just a bit underwhelming, and for some reason they incorporated the signature on the end papers, which they don't usually do. I'm not entirely sure I'm in love with that design idea, but it's fine. I'm being nitpicky now. However, what it's lacking in the artwork on the inside, I think they did make up for on the naked hardcover. I really do think that is just absolutely stunning. So very well done. And last but not least for our special editions, I did also receive the Fairy Loot edition of The Wind Weaver. I've shown this in a few TBRs, so I'm not going to go too in depth, but it does have the beautiful feathered spray at edges, the stunning character artwork, and of course the digitally printed hardcover. For me, I almost think that a pretty hardcover is more important than artwork on the inside, because when I'm reading a hardcover, I do take off the dust jacket while I'm reading anyways. So this, I think, is ultimately what is seen more than the inside end papers. So I love when companies do stuff like this. Full disclosure, I have read the synopsis of this book like 15 total times, and I still have no clue what it's about. So I think I'm just going to choose to go in blindly when I do choose to read this. I was supposed to have the July Page and Wick book to show you guys, which are typically my favorite editions, but Page and Wick sent us an email that something happened with the shipments of our books, and they're not going to be in until like the end of August, early September. A smidge annoying, but these things happen, so I'm not going to have that to show you. However, I am also expecting the Page and Wick special edition. And now for the part of the video that always takes the longest. So grab a drink, get cozy, and let's talk about the Kindle books I've purchased in the last 5 months. And considering this is most of my purchases, we're going to be here for a while. So take a sip. Starting off strong, I grabbed Bourbon Lullaby by Walker Rose completely free this morning, $0.00. And this is one of the many reasons why I love the Kindle deals, because you can get books completely for free. This is book 1 of 6 in the Bourbon Canyon series, and it says, Miles Foster, CEO, thief, broody grump, and once upon a time the boy who read me stories when it stormed. My brothers hate him for the knowledge he took from our family's bourbon company to start his own empire. My sisters have forgotten him, but me, I'm going to be his new assistant. He doesn't trust easily, and I'm only in his office because of a lie, but if that lie will get me all the answers I've been craving for 22 years, then that's what I'll do, right up until the moment he finally remembers who I am, and then it'll be my turn to disappear. A little revenge story. I also grabbed Behooved by M. Stevenson. This book sounds like a wacky, silly, good time, but I am intrigued, and this cover is beautiful. It says it's a charming, slow burn romantasy featuring a duty-bound noblewoman with a chronic illness, a prince who would rather be in a library than on a throne, and a magical ride through a world of cozy enchantment. Listen to how insane this sounds, but so funny. Bianca knows her duty comes before her heart, so when the threat of war looms, she agrees to marry the neighboring kingdom's heir. But not all royal weddings are a fairy tale, and Prince Eric, Bianca's betrothed, is cold, aloof, and seems to hate her on sight. Ready? To make matters worse, on their wedding night, an assassination attempt goes awry, leaving Eric magically transformed into a horse. That would really put a damper on your wedding night, I would think. Bianca does what any bride in this situation would do. She mounts her new husband and rides away to safety. Oh my God. Sunset returns Eric to human form, but they soon discover the assassination attempt is part of a larger plot against the throne. Okay, Shrek. Okay, Fiona, that you're a normal human by day and then transform by night. Interesting. I also grabbed What Lies Beyond the Veil. This is book 1 in the Of Flesh and Bone series. This is an older book I've heard a lot about. I've heard that this is heavily steamy and spicy. So if that's not your thing, this is probably not the series for you. It says, when the veil protecting humans from Fae shatters after 400 years, a Fae-marked gardener flees to survive. Rescued by Callum from the Wild Hunt, they develop a passionate alliance while evading capture. Here's one that was actually on Kindle sale today, so go check because it might still be on sale if you catch it soon enough. I've never heard of it, but it's called His Face is the Sun by Michelle Jabez Corpora. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is Throne of Katara, Book 1. It's a lush, epic, ancient Egyptian-inspired trilogy. Tensions run as hot as the Khamsin winds in the great kingdom of Katara. Rumors of the pharaoh's mysterious illness abound, and with them murmurs of rebellion grow. Meanwhile, in the quiet desert, a forgotten oracle begins to unfold, setting a dark prophecy into action and drawing together four strangers. Princess Sita lives a life in abundance in the palace, and in a moment of passion, she unmasks a betrayal that will put her life and the entire royal court in grave danger. A priestess in training, Neff strives to understand her intense visions from the gods, except theirs is not the only magic at play in the Grand Temple. As a farmer's daughter, Rey knows how much the pharaoh men have taken from her land and her people. Still, who will step forward to confront the king? And last but not least, Kareem was raised among the pyramids of the Red Lands and survives on the wealth of the dead as a tomb robber, but amid the spoils an ancient evil awakens. Bloodshed is coming. Only together do these four have the potential to save the kingdom from destruction, but when the dust is settled, who will sit on the throne of Katara? I was intrigued by it because it only has 114 reviews, but has a 4.6 average star rating. Also on sale today, I grabbed Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. It says it's about a young woman grieving the loss of her best friend meets a grumpy stranger who swears he can help her live again. I own Ready or Not by Cara Bastone, and I think one other book that I can't remember, but I know that this one has gotten really great reviews. Also on Kindle sale one day, I grabbed Homeseeking by Carissa Chen. I actually saw a couple of popular booktubers reading this book, but most specifically Ashlyn Gubelli read this book and really loved it. This is very literary fiction, so it's a little bit of a departure from like romance romantasy for me. But it says, from World War II to 2008, this deeply moving story follows one couple across 60 years as world events pulls them together and apart, illuminating the Chinese diaspora and exploring what it means to find home far from your homeland. Next up, I grabbed Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair. This is a brand new release, and one day on Kindle, it went on sale for like $1.99. You need to keep on top of your Kindle specials because this is the most efficient way to read. This is the first in a seductive new romantasy series from Scarlett St. Clair. Banished and betrayed, Lilith rises from the shadows of her past to claim forbidden power in a destiny written in blood and desire. This is getting really good reviews right now, and Scarlett St. Clair is a really beloved author. Next up, I grabbed No More Tears, The Dark Secrets of Johnson & Johnson by Gardner Harris. This is a nonfiction deep dive into Johnson & Johnson as a company. I'm not totally in love with the fact that it was written by someone from the New York Times. However, I am interested to kind of deep dive into what he found from such a prolific company that sells health products to so many people. It says it's an explosive, deeply reported expose of Johnson & Johnson, one of America's oldest and most trusted pharmaceutical companies, from an award-winning investigative journalist. It says, one day in 2004, Gardner Harris, a pharmaceutical reporter for the New York Times, was early for a flight and sat down at an airport bar. He struck up a conversation with the woman on the bar stool next to him, who happened to be a drug sales rep for Johnson & Johnson. Her horrific story about unethical sales practices and the devastating impact they've had on her family fundamentally changed the nature of how Harris would cover the company and the entire pharmaceutical industry for the Times. His subsequent investigations and ongoing research since that first conversation led to this book, a blistering expose of a trusted American institution and the largest healthcare conglomerate in the world. Harris takes us light years away from the company's image as the child-friendly baby company, as he uncovers reams of evidence showing decades of deceitful and dangerous corporate practices that have threatened the lives of millions. He covers multiple disasters, lies, and cover-ups regarding the link of Johnson's baby powder to cancer, the surprising dangers of Tylenol, a criminal campaign to sell antipsychotics that have cost countless lives, a popular drug used to support cancer patients that actually increases the risk that cancer tumors will grow, and deceptive marketing that accelerated opioid addicts through their product Duragesic fentanyl. that rival even those of the Sacklers and Purdue Pharma. Filled with shocking and infuriating but utterly necessary revelations, No More Tears is a landmark work of investigative journalism that lays bare the deeply rooted corruption behind the image of babies bathing with a smile. So I think this is very timely, particularly in the post-Panini world, if you know what I'm saying, in a word we're not supposed to say on YouTube. In the post-Panini world, I think this is such an important read. I don't know if I'll necessarily agree with everything that he says in this, but as though those years didn't teach us how corrupt our healthcare system is, this might be eye-opening. I also grabbed The Bone King and the Starling by Elizabeth Stevens. They call him the Bone King, a massive beast of a male who worships the gods and is all too willing to provide them their sacrifices, human sacrifices. He and his warriors have come to visit Winterbrunn, a poor little village on the outskirts of Wrath, and my home. I've never been more grateful to be a thrall, for my low status will ensure that I remain outside of his notice. But when he requests, nay, requires, a willing female to warm his furs for the duration of his stay, his selection falls to me. All I can do is pray to the gods that I survive the night and beg the Bone King for mercy. Not only is this cover gorgeous, but this sounds so good. And I picked this up for like 99 cents one day. Next up, I grabbed Wandering Wild by Lynette Noni. Best-selling author Lynette Noni turns her hand to contemporary romance in this swoony YA survival story, perfect for readers wanting a high-stakes, lost-in-the-wilderness adventure brimming with tension-filled romance. I also was able to grab a completed duology. I grabbed Us Dark Few and Us Deadly Few. This is books 1 and 2 in the Us Dark Few series, and I have heard fantastic things about these books. I'm only going to talk about book 1. It says, imprisoned for a crime she didn't commit, Kalani must survive the brutal Braderhelm prison while uncovering dark secrets that could lead to her escape. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is Prisoner Prison Guard. Also on sale one day, I was able to grab 365 Days by Blanka Lipinska. I have watched the full 365 Days series. I forget what it's on. It might be HBO. I don't remember. It's very spicy, very smutty, and a little triggering, so it's not for everyone, but I ate it up, and I saw book 1 was on sale one day and wanted to grab it. It says, a woman's Sicilian vacation quickly turns from a dream come true to a beautiful nightmare when she crosses paths with the powerful head of a crime family, entangling them in a dangerous love affair. In the USA Today bestseller that inspired the hit Netflix show. Okay, so it's a Netflix series. You probably can't tell, but it's now several hours later. I had to go and pick my older son up from his friend's house, and we ended up just like sitting by the pool and chatting. They just opened their new pool, so we spent a couple hours there, made some dinner, and now it is much, much later out. So continuing on, the next book I grabbed was The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. Once again, this was a relatively new release that I've heard kind of mixed things about, but it was on sale for $1.99, so I picked it up. It says it's a masterfully woven tale of imperial intrigue from an electrifying new voice in epic fantasy. I'm not a huge epic fantasy person. Like, for me, unless there's a romance element, I lose interest and I just kind of don't proceed. Like, we tried to do, in the Homey and Homely book club, we tried to read, I'm blanking on the name, but the John Gwynne book. I'll post it like right here. Why am I blanking on the name right now? It's late. It's been a long day. We tried to read this, and honestly, I could probably see myself coming back to it when I'm in a certain mood one day, but it's not really my cup of tea. They're just very long and slow and dragged out, and I kind of lose interest, and there's not like the romance side of the story to interest me, so we'll see how this goes. But the fact that it's an epic fantasy makes me a little nervous. It says, let us fly now to the Empire of Arun, where after 24 years of peace, the reign of Bursin the Brusque has come to an end. In the dizzying heat of midsummer, 7 exceptional warriors, thinkers, strategists compete to replace him. When one of them is murdered, it falls to Nima Kra, the Emperor's brilliant, idiosyncratic high scholar, to find the killer and fight for the throne. Nima believes she is alone, but we are here to help. All she has to do is let us in. If she succeeds, we will win an empire. If she fails, death awaits her, but we won't let that happen. We are the Raven and we are magnificent. This is 667 pages because epic fantasies just clearly have to be that long. You know what I'm saying? The question is it going to hold my attention? Next, I grabbed Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill. I actually saw Faith, her page used to be Faith's Reading Things. She recently changed it to her last name. I think it's like Faith Osler. I saw Faith read this and she really enjoyed it. I think this is a YA fantasy, if I'm not mistaken. It's an extraordinary tale about the most unforgettable heroine, a charismatic lake-dwelling monster with a voice unlike any other. It's a tale of fae, folklore, and found family. It says, Jenny Greenteeth, that's my name, and it's my mother's and her mother's, all the way back upstream to the source of all the rivers and lakes in the country. Jenny Greenteeth has never spoken to a human before, but when a witch is thrown into her lake, something makes Jenny decide she's worth saving. Temperance doesn't know why her village has suddenly turned against her, only that it has something to do with the malevolent new pastor. Though they have nothing in common, these two must band together on a magical quest to defeat the evil that threatens Jenny's lake and Temperance's family, as well as the very soul of Britain. Faith liked it. She said it made her feel very cozy, so I could give it a try. So we all know, if you've watched the last couple of videos, that I have recently had spicy brain. And when I say that, it means that I am like tinkering, either on the verge of falling into a slump or trying to crawl my way up out of a slump. Sorry if you can hear my ice maker making ice, but when I have spicy brain, the only thing that kind of helps me through it is, oddly, monster romance. I don't know, make it make sense. I can't, but I like monster romance. And this one went on sale completely for free one day. It's called Oh No, There's an Incubus in My Hot Spring. It's book 1 in the Getting Cozy with Demons series, and this cover sold me. I don't think I really need to say too much about this one. It says it's a cozy small town fantasy romance about monsters. I also grabbed Take the Lead by Jacqueline Snow one day when it went on sale completely free. It's a best friend's older brother fake dating romance. I think it's hockey. It says fake dating between longtime friends leads to real feelings, forcing them to confront insecurities and commitment issues. It is hockey. Confirmed. I also grabbed The Light of Blood by Jade Christie. It says this is a vampire romantasy, the Bloodlight Lumiere series, book 1. It says, what happens when the woman who created a serum to give the sun to vampires becomes the target of those who only want darkness? I'm Cassandra Burke, scientist, scholar, human outsider, invited to the ancient vampire city of Navarra to decipher ancient manuscripts. Lumiere, my creation, lets vampires walk in the sun, but not everyone thinks that's a good thing. Some call it freedom, others call it a betrayal. Vampires are divided, those who crave the light and those who worship the dark. Now cultists are rising, and the ancients, banished monsters from a forgotten age, are stirring in their prison beneath Shadowkeep. Oh, and there's one more problem. Him, a vampire. Gorgeous, dangerous, powerful, and off limits, but every time he looks at me, my world shifts. It's a seductive vampire romantasy. Next up, I grabbed River of Shadows by Karina Holly. I have read a couple books by Karina Holly, and I've really enjoyed everything I've read. Her prose is very quick and easy to read. I enjoy her writing. I enjoy her storylines. So when I saw this one go on sale, I scooped it up. It says it's an enemies to lovers romantasy, book 1 in the Underworld's Gods series. It says, take one grumpy god of death, add one feisty heroine, mix them up with a marriage bargain in the Finnish underworld, and you have River of Shadows. The other thing it said that was kind of interesting is it says, while it fits in the subgenre of dark fantasy, it is not dark enough to be considered a dark romance. So I'm intrigued. I do have the physical version of Forget Me Not by Julie Soto, but I grabbed the Kindle version when it went on sale for 99 cents because it's just easier for me to read. Sometimes to be able to switch back and forth. It says a wedding planner and her grumpy ex must work together to plan a celebrity event in this deliciously spicy and funny novel. Another really popular book that went on sale for $1.99 one day is Wild and Wrangled. This is book 4 in the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage. The first one is Done and Dusted. Then I think Swift and Saddled, Lost and Lassoed, and now Wild and Wrangled. It's a super popular cowboy yeehaw romance series, and this is book 4. Oh, this one sounded really interesting. I grabbed Unwanted by Mia Sheridan. This is book 1 in the Men and Monsters series, and listen to this synopsis because I thought it sounded so interesting. It's a heart-pounding, suspenseful, and supremely romantic novel And it says, when wilderness guide Harper Ward is summoned to the small town sheriff's office in Helena Springs, Montana, to provide assistance on a case, she is shocked to find that their only suspect in the double murder investigation is a man described as a savage. But the longer she watches the man, only known as Lucas, on the station surveillance camera, the more intrigued she becomes. He certainly looks primitive with his unkempt appearance and animal skin attire, but she also sees intelligence in his eyes, sensitivity in his expression. Who is he, and how is it possible that he's lived alone in the forest since he was a small child? As secrets begin to emerge, Harper is thrust into something bigger and more diabolical than she ever could have imagined. And standing right at the center of it all is Lucas. But is he truly the wild man he appears to be? A cold-blooded killer, an innocent victim, or a perplexing mix of all three? Harper must find out the answers to these questions, because the more time she spends with him, the more she risks losing her heart. I guess it was previously published under the title of Savaged, and it recently was republished under Unwanted. Next up, I grabbed The Summer of You and Me by Denise Hunter. This went on sale for 99 cents one day and just sounded really good. It says, Maggie Reynolds is finally ready for love again until the past shows up in the form of someone who may or may not be the late husband she thought she'd lost. It says, 5 years after her husband's death, Maggie is finally ready to let go of him and the dreams she had for their future. A summer at Seabrook, where she and Ethan first became childhood sweethearts, seems the perfect time and place to find closure. Plus, she gets to spend time with his family, the Reynoldses, whom she loves like her own. Unbeknownst to Maggie, her brother-in-law, Josh Reynolds, has been in love with her since they first met all those years ago. But his brother ultimately won Maggie's heart, and Josh's unrequited love has ruined all of his relationships. If Maggie is ready to move on, then Josh is ready to lay it all on the line and come clean about his true feelings for her. But his plans soon get put on hold when shortly after Maggie returns to Seabrook, she runs into a man who could pass for Ethan's twin. But he disappears into the amusement park crowd before she can confront him. The event rattles Maggie, stirs up impossible questions, and sends Josh and her on a quest to discover the man's true identity. But their search ends up raising more questions than answers, and soon Maggie isn't sure she wants those answers after all. I just thought that sounded really good, like a little bit of a mystery. Okay, this next one is called The Scent Keeper by Erica Bauermeister. I actually heard Sarah Beth talk about this book and really like it, and I'm so intrigued by the premise, and I saw it go on sale for 99 cents one day, so I picked it up. It says it's a moving and evocative coming-of-age novel about childhood stories, families lost and found, and how a fragrance conjures memories capable of shaping the course of our lives. It says Emmeline lives an enchanted childhood on a remote island with her father, who teaches her about the natural world through her senses. What he won't explain are the mysterious scents stored in the drawers that line the walls of their cabin, or the origin of the machine that creates them. As Emmeline grows, however, so too does her curiosity, until one day the unforeseen happens, and Emmeline is vaulted out into the real world, a place of love, betrayal, ambition, and revenge. To understand her past, Emmeline must unlock the clues to her identity, a quest that challenges the limits of her heart and imagination. And it says, lyrical and immersive, The Scent Keeper explores the provocative beauty of scent, the way it can reveal hidden truth, lead us back to the person we seek, and even help us find our way back home. I just thought that concept was so interesting, and Sarah Beth said the same thing. I also had a couple of subscribers reach out and recommend The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. A couple of you had kind of messaged me and been like, I know you don't like mystery thrillers, but this one really got me, and people really loved it. I know next to nothing about it. The second you guys say you like something, I just go out and buy it. I'm almost positive I paid, like, maybe not full price because I usually wait for things to go on sale, but it definitely wasn't like $1.99 special. I think I paid like $9.99 for this one or something, but if you say you like it, I'll go out and get it. It says, June 1975, the Taylor family shatters in a single night when two teenage siblings are found dead in their own home. The only surviving sibling, Vincent, never shakes the whispers and accusations that he was the one who killed them. Decades later, the legend only grows as his career as a horror writer skyrockets. Ghostwriter Olivia Dumont has spent her entire professional life hiding the fact that she is the only child of Vincent Taylor. Now on the brink of financial ruin, she's offered a job to ghostwrite her father's last book. What she doesn't know, though, is that this project is another one of his lies, because it is not another horror novel he wants her to write. After 50 years of silence, Vincent Taylor is finally ready to talk about what really happened that night in 1975. That does sound really good. But at the same time, like, I hope they're not implying what I think they're implying, because this is either A, the classic example of the synopsis telling way too much, or a classic example of a mystery thriller that's just really predictable. So I'm kind of hoping that there's a good twist that blows my mind. I also grabbed The Scars Within by Ange T. Dalton. It says, one girl, two brothers, a school built on secrets, and a bond that could burn the world down. So then there's like little plot points down at the bottom, and it says romance that burns and betrayal that leaves you bleeding, grumpy sunshine twin brothers, found family and fractured loyalties, elemental powers, bonded dragons, and magical assassins. Sounds pretty good. I also grabbed Escaped Daughter, which is Morgan University Book 1 by Aaron R. Flynn. I don't want to know too much about this one, but it does say it is a part of a series and cannot be read as a standalone. And it says it's not light and fluffy, and it does include dark themes and events some may find triggering. It says Morgan University is a spicy reverse harem university age paranormal academy series with darker elements, strong language, violence, and a heroine who always does her best no matter what's thrown at her while trying to figure out what and who her heart wants. Next up is Model Behavior by Kelsey Ray. This is a book that's part of the Wrecked Roommates series. It said it's a forbidden roommate romance. When you reach rock bottom, the only place to go is up, or for me, apparently it's straight into the arms of the one person who's off limits, my brother's good friend and my new roommate. It says if you love forbidden romance, jealous exes, and sexy alpha heroes, then you'll love Model Behavior. So next up, I grabbed books 1, 2, and 3 in the Legacy of the Nine Realms series. The first one is Flames of Chaos, the second one is Ashes of Chaos, and the third one is Ruins of Chaos. I'm obviously not going to talk about books 2 and 3, but I know book 1 says Arya and her sisters return to the human realm of Haven Falls to find one of their own that's gone missing. They soon discover things have changed in the human realm and that nothing is that it seems, including Knox, the egotistical, self-centered, frustratingly gorgeous man who declared himself king during their absence. Sparks fly when the two enter a fiery battle of wills as Arya learns she is much more than just a witch and the Hecate bloodline. She is much, much more. Will Arya embrace her savage side to find her sister and save her family, or will she burn to ashes from hanging out with Knox? I'm not going to read that part. Another book that I physically own, but I wanted to grab on Kindle when I saw it went on sale, is Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I know that this was her foray into like spicier adult romance, which I'm very intrigued by because Ali Hazelwood's writing, I've only really read Bride and I really enjoyed her writing, but I know that her other books I think are a little bit less intense, and this one was considered more intense. It's a forbidden secret affair proves that all's fair in love and science. If any of you are looking for any more monster romance recommendations, I did grab Halfling and Ironling, books 1 and 2 in the Fantasy Monster Romance Monstrous World series. I don't know much about it, but I do love the covers. Another book that I've seen getting a little bit more attention on BookTube and like Bookstagram is Servant of Earth. This is book 1 in the Shards of Magic by Sarah Hawley. It says in the underground Fey realm, only the strongest and most ruthless have power, but a young human woman forced into a life of servitude is about to change everything. It says Kenna Heron is best known in her village for being a little wild, some say half feral, but she'll need every ounce of that ferocity to survive captivity in the cruel Fey court. Trapped as a servant in the fairies' underground kingdom of Mistay, Kenna must help her new mistress undertake 6 deadly trials, 1 for each branch of magic: fire, earth, light, void, illusion, and blood. If she succeeds, her mistress will gain immortality and become the heir to Earth House. If she doesn't, the punishment is death for both mistress and servant. With no ally but a sentient dagger of mysterious origins, Kenna must face monsters, magic, and grueling physical tests. But worse dangers wait underground, and soon Kenna gets caught up in the secret rebellion against the inventively sadistic fairy king. When her feelings for the rebellion's leader turn passionate, Kenna must decide if she's willing to risk her life for a better world and a chance at happiness. Surviving the trials and overthrowing a tyrant king will take cunning, courage, and an iron will, but even that may not be enough. I think it was Bailey from Bailey's Bookshelf that ended up loving this book, so I was intrigued and it was on sale. Oh my gosh, this was probably one of the best deals that I found in the last couple of months. This George R.R. Martin, A Game of Thrones 5-book box set went on sale. So it includes A Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, A Feast for Crows, and A Dance with Dragons. So a 5-book set of the Game of Thrones books. It's normally $39.99. This thing went on sale for $2.99. So I got all 5 of these books for $3. It was a great deal. I'm not going to read the synopsis for each of them. Game of Thrones is one of my favorite shows of all time. I think it's like one of the most well-made, best shows ever. I want to read the books, but I'm super intimidated by them, but it was worth the $3 gamble for me. Next up, I grabbed Before We Were by Monique Medved. Honestly, I had never heard about this book. I liked the cover. It was on sale for 99 cents, so I figured I'd grab it. It says, some love stories are written in the stars. Ours was etched in mischances and almosts. It says, a girl searching for herself, a boy haunted by his past. What if our ending was always meant to be our beginning? It says it's an emotionally charged, slow burn, new adult romance about soul-deep first love, second chances, and healing in the ruins of heartbreak. It says tropes you'll love. Childhood friends to lovers, broody boy soft for her, small town summer romance, found family, emotional and messy, but worth the fight. Next up, I grabbed Vacation Land by Meg Mitchell. Yet again, another book that went on sale for 99 cents, so I grabbed it. It says it's a shimmering summer read set in Maine about family secrets, marriage, motherhood. It says Louisa has come to her parents' house in Maine this summer with her 3 kids, a barely written book that has a looming deadline and a trunk full of resentment. Louisa is hoping the crisp breeze will blow away her irritation for her life choices and replace it with enthusiasm for both her family and her writing. But all isn't well in Maine. Louisa's father, a retired judge and a pillar of the community, is suffering from Alzheimer's. Louisa's mother is alternately pretending everything is fine and not pretending at all. And one of Louisa's children happens upon a very confusing and heartfelt letter referring to something Louisa doesn't think her father could possibly have done. Louisa's not the only one searching for something in Maine this summer. Christy took the Greyhound bus from Pennsylvania with the $761 left in her bank account and a whole lot of emotional baggage. She has a past she's trying to outrun, a secret she's trying to unpack, and a new boyfriend who's so impossibly kind she can't figure out what she did to deserve him. As June turns to July, turns to August, secrets will be unearthed, betrayals will come to light, and both Louisa and Christy will ask themselves what they are owed and what they owe others. Interesting. I also grabbed Their Lethal Pet and Their Blood Queen. These are books 1 and 2 in a series by Lexi C. Foss. I think this is like encompassing monster, vampire, demon, spicy romance. I've heard they're very good. Another author I've been very intrigued about is Vari McFarlane, so I grabbed Mad About You when I saw it go on sale for $1.99. It says it's an emotional new novel about a woman who calls off her engagement to the perfect man and moves in with a charming stranger who makes her question everything about her life, her past, and the secrets she's kept for far too long. So I know Haley Pham recently has loved Vari McFarlane and she's working her way through her backlist, so I want to give her a try. Next up, I grabbed Looking Glass Sound when it was on sale for like $2 one day. Now, this is, I believe, a horror novel. I do not read a ton of horror, so it's kind of a gamble, but it sounded very intriguing. It says it's a masterful story about friendship and betrayal, dark obsessions, and the possibility of escaping your own story. It says, in a cottage overlooking the windswept Maine coast, Wilder Harlow has begun the last book he will ever write. It is the story about the sun-drenched summer days of his youth in Whistler Bay and the blood-stained path of a killer that stalked his small vacation town. About the terrible secret he and his companions, Nat and Harper, discovered in tombs in the coves off the bay, and how the pact they swore that day echoed down the decades, forever shaping their lives. But the more Wilder writes, the less he trusts himself and his memory. He starts to see things that can't be real, notes hidden in the cabin from an old friend now dead, a woman with dark hair drowning in the icy waters below, calling for help, entire chapters he doesn't recall typing, appearing overnight. Who or what is haunting Wilder? No longer able to trust his own eyes, Wilder begins to fear that this will not only be his last book, but the last thing he ever does. That I don't read a ton of horror, but that just sounded really good. I also grabbed Magic Hour by Kristen Hanna. I recently read The Women by her and really enjoyed it, and I think that kind of put me down a rabbit hole of wanting to buy her entire backlist because I think she's a masterful author. This one says it's about a child psychiatrist trying to help a mysterious 6-year-old who appears in the Olympic National Forest. Oh, so does this have some magical elements? It says, in the rugged Pacific Northwest lies the Olympic National Forest, nearly 1 million acres of impenetrable darkness and impossible beauty. From deep within this old-growth forest, a 6-year-old girl appears. Speechless and alone, she offers no clue as to her identity, no hint of her past. Having retreated to her Western Washington hometown after a scandal left her career in ruins, child psychiatrist Dr. Julia Cates is determined to free the extraordinary little girl she calls Alice from a prison of unimaginable fear and isolation. To reach her, Julia must discover the truth about Alice's past, although doing so requires help from Julia's estranged sister, a local police officer. The shocking facts of Alice's life test the limit of Julia's faith and strength, even as she struggles to make a home for Alice and herself. That sounds very different from the women, so that interests me. Next up, I grabbed The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. Once again, I have not read anything by him. He's the author of The Midnight Library, I do believe, and this is his new release. It says, when retired math teacher Grace Winters is left a rundown house on a Mediterranean island by a long-lost friend, curiosity gets the better of her. She arrives in Ibiza with a one-way ticket, no guidebook, and no plan. Among the rugged hills and the golden beaches of the island, Grace searches for answers about her friend's life and how it ended. What she uncovers is stranger than she could have dreamed, but to dive into this impossible truth, Grace must first come to terms with her past. That's kind of vague. I also grabbed The Serial Killer's Guide to San Francisco. This is, I think, like a little goofy mystery, cozy mystery type of thing that's supposed to be almost like a little comedic as well. It says it's about the granddaughter of a serial killer showing readers another side of her beloved city. Yeah, I guess her grandfather was a serial killer and now she's like a tour guide to San Francisco and takes people around to like all these iconic locations. I don't know how these two things are going to tie into each other, but I've heard it's pretty funny. A little bit on the darker side, I grabbed The Death King by Penelope Barsetti. I don't remember what exactly I paid for this, but this must have gone on sale because I've actually never heard of it before, and I don't usually just like grab books I don't know of unless they're on sale. It says it's about a slave with the rare gift of dragon speaking encountering the Death King, unaware she's the one whose kingdom he enslaved years ago. Despite mutual attractions, they struggle with their complicated past and his mysterious cause. It says it is incredibly dark, so check your triggers. I also grabbed A Bond of Fire and Roses. How gorgeous is this cover? I think that might have just been what attracted me to it. It says it's a princess and her enemy must marry to unite their kingdoms, but their hatred for each other threatens to destroy everything. So another like marriage of convenience romantasy. It says the dragon rider might have taken everything from me, my home, my family, and my crown, but I vowed long ago he would never take my heart. It says it's a new romantasy series that features an explosive enemies to lovers romance that will either unite their warring kingdoms or burn them to the ground. It contains dragon riders, magic, and explicit on-page heat, arranged marriage, enemies to lovers, touch her and die, and who did this to you tropes. And it's book 1 of the Crowned by Wings trilogy. It's so funny because I'm like going through all my Kindle books right here and you could tell that I was definitely in a slump because I'm not talking about every single book I actually bought here. I'm only going through, I'm like hitting the ones that really stand out to me. But like as I'm scrolling down the page, it's just like monster romance, monster romance, monster romance, monster romance, monster romance. And I'm kind of like skipping by them because it would take me forever to talk about all of them. But I swear to God, I've bought like 30 monster romances. Next off, I bought Killer of Mine and Secrets of Mine by Alexis Grace. These are books 1 and 2 in the Of Mine series, and I believe that book 3 has either just come out or it's coming out in like the middle of August, so I think we're pretty close to book 3's release if it didn't just release. It says it's an enemies to lovers dark romance. She's the daughter of a serial killer. They're FBI agents. It says it's a full-length, mature, new adult romance with elements of enemies to lovers, forced proximity, darker moments, and on-page spice. The main character has more than one love interest and will not have to choose between them. No one knows Freya is actually the daughter of the Crosscut Killer, America's most notorious serial killer. Living under a false identity as a detective is isolating, but at least Freya's safe. That is, until she falls onto the radar of Special Agent River Park and his team. When Freya's true identity is uncovered, she's forced to work with River and his team. All Freya wants is to catch her father. Getting involved with not 1 but 4 FBI agents would be a very bad idea. But River and his team aren't prepared for the Spitfire young woman who's too pretty for her own good. She's hiding more than scars, and a woman with secrets might just be kryptonite to a group of profilers. I've seen a couple of booktubers read this and really enjoy it. And actually most recently, I saw Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy read this and say that the writing isn't actually that great, but she devoured it in one sitting and enjoyed it. I think she gave it a 3.5, somewhere in that arena. And she did specifically say, I usually don't like these books, but I ate this up. I also grabbed Lucifer's Curse. This is book 1 of 3 in the Devil's Deal series. It said it's a forbidden, fated mates romance. And actually it was funny because right on the bottom it says, if you like outrageously hot men with Irish accents and big wings, you're going to love Knox. So, sold. I also grabbed Half-Blood Academy 1 Magic Trials. This is obviously book 1 in the Half-Blood Academy series. It says, welcome to Half-Death Academy. That's what they call my new school since only half the students survive. Rule number 1, keep your head down and don't mess with the 4 gorgeous demigods who rule the school. Rule number 2, when the demigods try to kill you, lie down. Too bad I never was very good at following the rules, and when my dark power awakens, I'll make them regret that they tried to bully me. So it sounds like this is like a bully fantasy romance. I had to run upstairs and get more soda because I am getting hoarse. There are a few things in life better than a really ice cold Diet Coke. Okay, next up I grabbed The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. This one also made its way around booktube, but it went on sale for like $2 one day, so I picked it up. It says, vying for the hand of one brother, falling in love with the other. It's a new Victorian-inspired romantasy that takes place in London, 1848. And it says, Ivy Benton enters a competition for Prince Bram's hand to restore her family's status, receiving help from his brother, Prince Emmett, while facing the Fae Queen's dangerous trials. So the next book I'm really excited about, and I've been putting it off to read in the fall because it just gives all the good fall vibes. That's The Warm Hands of Ghost by Catherine Arden. I have heard amazing things about this book, but for some reason I just feel like the atmosphere would be better if I read it in spooky season. So it says, during the Great War, a combat nurse searches for her brother, believed dead in the trenches despite eerie signs that suggest otherwise. I've heard Catherine Arden's writing is beautiful, gorgeous, and that she's a master of her craft. I'm going to look for any excuse to put this on my September, October, November TBR because I have been putting it off for the perfect time and I'm very excited about it. One Day Cash by Jessica Peterson went on sale for 99 cents and I scooped it up so fast because it sounds so good. It said, butting heads leads to knocking boots in this wildly sexy enemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine, small town cowboy romance. And it's like, check, check, check. I want it. It says, city girl Molly inherits a Texas ranch but must manage it for a year, clashing with grumpy foreman Cash Rivers in this spicy enemies to lovers cowboy romance. Plus, the cover is adorable. I'm not going to talk too much about these, but I did grab Secretly Yours and Unfortunately Yours when each of them went on sale for $1.99. I've talked a little bit about my complicated relationship with Tessa Bailey's writing, but for $4 for the 2 books, I was like, it's worth it. I also grabbed The Catch by Amy Leah. This is book 3 in her Influencer series. I think it's the Influencer series. It says, a grumpy lobster fisherman tosses a fashion influencer's impeccably curated life overboard in the next romantic comedy from international bestselling author Amy Leah. Another really adorable cover. I also grabbed Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda when it went on sale for $1.99. Her father was the town detective, her mother its most notorious criminal. Now the secrets of Mirror Lake are coming to the surface and changing everything. A stunning psychological thriller from one of the most insightful writers around. A daughter inherits her childhood home and is drawn back to the town she left behind, where long-hidden secrets begin to emerge, including evidence that may help her explain the mystery of her mother's disappearance. I also grabbed The Mate and The Boss. So technically, I think The Boss is the first book. I think The Mate is the prequel in the Fire's Edge series. So I'm going to read The Mate and then The Boss, but technically The Boss is book 1. It says, Finn Conleth leaves his team of enforcer dragon shifters with an iron fist and a cold heart. Every dragon seeks his destined mate, but the process to turn the woman he once thought was his killed her and devastated him. He will never risk his heart again. His team is his family now. When his body eventually gives out, he'll leave, living his last days alone. Delaney Hamilton moved across the country to escape the freak fires that plague her, but when another suspicious fire erupts and rapidly escalates around her, her hopes for a new life go up in smoke. She has no choice but to turn to the mysterious men who come to her aid. Finn knows the fire is dragon caused, which puts Delaney's problems directly in his jurisdiction. No matter how her wounded gray eyes call to every part of him, he refuses to risk her life in the mating process until another dragon threatens to claim Delaney for his own, and Finn has to sacrifice everything to keep her alive. It sounds so good. Next up, I grabbed Alive and Wells by Bailey Hanna, and this book currently today is still on sale for $1.99. So if this sounds good, go grab it. It says, a city girl fleeing an abusive marriage suddenly finds herself working on a cattle ranch with a sexy but grumpy rancher as her boss in this spicy cowboy romance from the author of Seeing Red and Change of Heart. So this is book 1 in the Wells Ranch series, but I know that Bailey Hanna has a couple of other series that have been pretty well loved as well. And every single cover she does is just as good as this. Next up, I grabbed Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. Recently, Sarah Caroli and a couple other booktubers read this, and I've seen like mixed reviews. I don't think Sarah loved it that much, but like I said, for a couple of dollars, it's worth it to me. It says, in the year 2000, Percy Marks meets songwriter Joe Morrow at a Berkeley bar, sparking a creative partnership that takes them through Brooklyn and San Francisco's music scenes, exploring talent and artistic industry. I think I like the longer synopsis better. It says, it's a Friday night in a campus bar in Berkeley in the fall of 2000, and Percy Marks is pontificating about music again. Hall & Oates is on the jukebox, and Percy, who has no talent for music, just lots of opinions about it, can't stop herself from overanalyzing the song, indulging what she knows to be her most annoying habit. But something is different tonight. The guy beside her at the bar, fellow student Joe Morrow, is a songwriter, and he could listen to Percy talk all night. Joe asks Percy for feedback on one of his songs, and the results kicks off a partnership that will span years, ignite new passions in them both, and crush their egos again and again. Is their collaboration worth its cost, or is it holding Percy back from finding her own voice? Moving from Brooklyn bars to San Francisco dance floors, Deep Cuts examines the nature of talent, obsession, belonging, and above all, our need to be heard. Very literary, but I think there's like a romantic element, and I can see where this wouldn't be for everyone. Next up, I grabbed The Boyfriend by the Frida McFadden. If you watch the Kindle specials, Frida McFadden's like million books often go on sale for 99 cents a piece. Now, they all are Kindle Unlimited, so is it absolutely necessary to buy them? It isn't, but for 99 cents, it's worth it to me, just not to take up a slot in my KU library, if that literally makes sense at all. Probably not, it's all up here, but just not to take up a slot in my Kindle Unlimited library, I'll grab it for $1. And this one actually does sound pretty intriguing. It says it's a suspenseful thriller about a woman who suspects her seemingly perfect boyfriend is a serial killer targeting his dates. She's looking for the perfect man. He's looking for the perfect victim. Sydney Shaw, like every single woman in New York, has terrible luck with dating. She's seen it all. Men who lie in their dating profile, men who stick her with the dinner bill, and worst of all, men who can't shut up about their mothers. But finally, she hits the jackpot. Her new boyfriend is utterly perfect. He's charming, handsome, and works as a doctor at a local hospital. Sydney is swept off her feet. Then the brutal murder of a young woman, the latest in a string of deaths across the coast, confounds police. The primary suspect, a mystery man who dates his victims before he kills them. Sydney should feel safe. After all, she is dating the guy of her dreams. But she can't shake her own suspicions that the perfect man may not be as perfect as he seems. Because someone is watching her every move, and if she doesn't get to the truth, she'll be the killer's next victim. You know what this like weirdly reminds me of? What was that true crime case about the guy who was like a med student or like a doctor in Boston, and he had this double life of unaliving people, and his fiance that he lived with like was completely unaware. I forget what his name was. I forget, but I'll put up like an article about it here. This seems like heavily inspired off of that. I also grabbed The Wraith King by Juliet Cross. This cover is everything, but once again, it's another book that I've seen kind of mixed reviews about. Not too many people talking about it, but it's been very 50-50 on the people who really like it and the people who find it kind of boring. It says, a brutal, bloody war against the ruthless Wraith King has cost the Light Fae more than innocent lives. Una Heartstone, Princess of Essos, learns the price the Wraith King demands to end the war once and for all, her. In exchange for the safety of her people, she agrees to give her life and her body to her greatest enemy. Okay, this was so random, but this book went on sale for 99 cents one day, and one of the things that you're going to learn is I am obsessive about things that I like. I am obsessed with great white sharks. I will learn and read anything about them. They're my favorite animal and I'm obsessed with them. Shark Week is like the pinnacle of television in my opinion. And another weird obsession that I've had since I was a little girl is the Titanic. I'm just fascinated by it. And one day, Lost Voices from the Titanic, the definitive oral history by Nick Barrett went on sale for $1 and I scooped it up. When I'm going to have the time to read this, I don't know, but it seems amazing, and I could see myself like picking this up one day, or even like maybe grabbing the audiobook and just listening to it because it will hold my attention because it interests me so much. It says, in this book, the dramatic story of the world's most famous ship is told through the voices of those who were there. If you want to know more about the Titanic, this is the book to read. And that is a quotation from Dr. Robert Ballard, who was one of the discoverers of the shipwreck of the Titanic. I love Robert Ballard. He recently, I know, has been in the news a bit more than normal because when the Titan Ocean Gate sub sank, I think Robert Ballard was one of the people that really spoke out about how that submarine should have never gone down to the Titanic and it wasn't safe. But you know, he is the expert in all things Titanic. So if he vouches for this book, it's probably amazing. Next up, I grabbed The Dread Descendant by Lauren Kate Leakey. This one on sale for 99 cents, and it sold me when it said, this adult dark fantasy romance is a Hogwarts meets Bridgerton novel with academic rivals and an ancient prophecy that speaks of a dread descendant. Maeve Sinclair is a high society magical who studies practical magic at a magical university. She's content in her studies until Malachite Pure, the youngest supreme in history with a bad past, makes the tempting offer to train her in combative magic instead. With dark magic duels and enchanting ballroom scenes, forbidden love has never looked so good. The only thing that kind of gives me pause about this book is it's 521 pages. And sometimes I find that books like this are a little overwritten, but the cover is beautiful. And Hogwarts meets Bridgerton is like my two favorite things, so I'm going for it. Next up, I grabbed A Sky Full of Love by Lorna Lewis. Once again, another cover that I really, really enjoy, but it says, following a harrowing disappearance, a woman returns home to her family and a life-changing secret and a powerful novel about betrayal, resilience, and love's unbreakable bonds. After 15 years in captivity, Nova LaFleur is free, back home and reunited with her Louisiana family. Through her ordeal, she never forgot them. They never forgot her either, but things have changed since Nova's been gone. Nova and her encouraging 17-year-old daughter, Sky, are getting to know each other for the first time. Her husband, Quentin, is rebuilding a relationship with a wife he thought was gone forever. And Nova's sister, Leah, is overjoyed and overwhelmed. Leah shares a secret with Quentin. Neither can bear to tell the woman they cherish. Not yet. 5 years ago, bonding over grief and finding a reason to smile again, Quentin and Leah were married. Oh no. Oh my gosh. When it's time for the truth to come out, they could lose Nova all over again. As Nova is eased back into a life both familiar and unfamiliar, she and her family must confront their deepest fears, the choices they made, and the choices to come that will reshape each of their lives together. Oh my God. I don't even know how you would get over that. That's crazy. Okay, now I'm kind of even more intrigued about this book because that's tough. And last but not least, I grabbed One is a Promise and Two is a Lie. This is books 1 and 2 in the Tangled Lies series by Pam Godwin. I have seen so many people recommend these books as some of the best romances they've ever read. They have a lot of really, really good ratings. Book 1 is called One is a Promise, and it says a woman torn between two men, each with their own unique qualities and challenges, must navigate a complex web of promises, lies, and impossible choices. I'm not going to read the whole synopsis because it gives away a lot, but I have heard fantastic things about Pam Godwin's writings, and this is another book that often goes on sale if you watch Amazon's Kindle deals. And that's actually it, guys. I think I ordered a couple more, but for some reason my Kindle won't let me go back on my orders anymore. And there's really not that many besides for the fact that we've been yapping on forever. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. I hope you guys got great recommendations. Like I said, I've been really trying to focus on purchasing more on my Kindle in the interest of saving space and money. So my best advice to you, like I said several times in this video, is watch your Kindle daily specials. And here's another suggestion from me to you. I would suggest creating a list on your Amazon called like books I want to read or Kindle Unlimited books that I like, and adding everything that you see that you like on that list when it's full price. And then you can reference that list and sort it price low to high every single day. And the ones that end up on sale will shoot up to the top of your list and then you'll see them. That's basically what I do. I just sort my list from low to high, and every single day there are new books that are on sale. And I have gotten to the point where you can get so many of these books for $3 or less that when I have to pay $5 for a book, it seems crazy because I'm just used to paying, 99 cents, $1.99 for them. So my best advice would be create a list, use your lists, and buy these books while they're on sale on Kindle, because I honestly pay 99 cents for most of my books. And that's it, guys. That is all the books we're going to discuss today. If you have made it this far, comment the strawberry emoji for the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, because it's such a cute cover, maybe arguably one of the cute covers I've purchased lately. So comment the little strawberry to show me you've made it this entire way, and then do all the things you are so professional at doing, like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.